Alright guys, Fulu coming to you with another video. Everybody's talking about the Canelo Plant fight being off. Everybody's talking about what Caleb Plant has came out and said about the whole fight and everything like that. The thing is number one, I really wasn't looking forward to seeing that fight. Because of the simple fact of how the fight basically was made and the things that led up to the fight being made. The fact that there was a lot of just ducking and diving in order to and taking the easiest route to get to the undisputed fight. Boxing right now, and probably on Friday I'm going to do a live in regards to it. Boxing right now is at pretty much a shit show. As of right now, you have it's just a circus. It's just not about, okay, you're gonna fight this guy, let's get the fight done, boom. It's not like that anymore. Now, unfortunately, you have the media that will block fights. The example of Mike Coppinger from ESPN actually blocking the Devin Haney-Jojo Diaz fight and actually secretly trying to push a Ryan Garcia-Jojo Diaz fight. So not only do you have the fighters doing diva-like things, but you have the media doing diva-like things as well. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. But in terms of the whole Canelo situation, to be honest, I can care less. I really could care less because of the simple fact that, I'm just going to be real. I'm going to keep it a buck. Canelo is bad for boxing. Ryan Garcia is bad for boxing. Teofimo Lopez is bad for boxing. The Charlotte sisters are bad for boxing. People like that are bad for boxing because of the simple fact that it's just rough, and nothing gets done. Nothing gets made. And so you look at what's happening and you see everything come full surface. So let's just start with the whole Canelo situation. I didn't read into it. I didn't really read the demands of Caleb Plant or the demands of Canelo or anything like that Caleb Plant brought out to say. But I was just like, okay, well, what do you expect? The dude wants every single possible advantage. If you're the A side and you have more belts, obviously you're going to be able to do that and you're going to be able to ask for those things, right? But at the same time, it's like, my thing is it's only one little rinky-dinky belt left to get. So that's my question. This is my question. It's only one rinky-dinky belt to get. So why are you adding all these stipulations and things like that on it when you're guaranteed 40 million and all that's left to get is one belt, but I don't know. So now I don't know if the fight is happening. I doubt it because of the simple fact that we're going to be in August soon, and the fight, he likes to fight on the Mexican Independence Day or whatever. So it's not going to happen. There's not going to be a full training camp. So I really doubt that this fight happens, right? So this really goes to show you what time it is with Canelo. And it's sad to say this, but you kind of do have to single out these fighters. For example, the reason why Canelo is so bad for boxing is because other fights get held up because people are trying to win the Canelo sweepstakes. So, for example, even with this fight, even with the Caleb Plant fight, he said he was going to hold his breath for the Canelo fight, but he could have fought other people. Caleb Plant could have fought Benavidez. He could have fought even Andre. Andre said, if the money was right, I would fight Caleb Plant. Maybe even Daniel Jacobs. There were different people he could have fought, but he decided not to. He held his breath for a Canelo fight, but now that fight may not even happen. So the same thing goes for Charlo. Charlo didn't have to fight Juan Montreal. Charlo could have unified the belts with Demetrius Andrade. But what Charlo was banking on, this is what he was banking on, and this is coming not only from Charlo's mouth, this is coming from his own trainer's mouth. Because again, you have to understand something. Who's responsible for the trainer getting paid? The fighter is, right? The trainer takes a percentage out of the fighter's earnings, right? And so that's what everybody knows, that the Canelo fight is the money fight, and so with that being said, of course he's going to want to have the Canelo fight because he stands to make the most money. So instead of having another big money fight in fighting Andrade or maybe fighting a Benavidez, which could be put on pay-per-view as well, he's holding his breath for a Canelo fight, right? And so it's really sad. It's really, really sad. Who else? Hell, even Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders held his breath for a Canelo fight. Finally got the Canelo fight, but could have upped his stock in the Canelo fight if he would have fought Demetrius Andrade before that fight. But he decided not to, and he decided to clout chase and just use Andrade's name. And so, I think what's going to happen in boxing is you're going to see a trend we're already seeing the trend. The trend is going to become, when a fighter is so skillful, when a fighter is so dangerous, when a fighter has a different kind of skill set that brings threats to not only the media darling fighters, but also the fans, the casual fans especially, favorite fighter, then those fighters are not going to be able to get those big fights. It's sad, but it's true. That's just what's going to happen, and that's what's happening right now. I'll give another example. as Canelo is bad for boxing, Ryan Garcia is bad for boxing too. And the reason why Ryan Garcia is bad for boxing is for the simple fact that he talks too much and he's not fighting anybody. He's not even making any efforts to have fights. He's talking too much. When Devin Haney put out his shutout of, well, pretty much a shutout, I think it was like 10-2 to Devin Haney. When he pulled out the W against Jorge Linares, what does Ryan Garcia go do on Twitter? Or something like that. I would have slept him. And it's like, nigga, shut the hell up. You wouldn't have done shit. And you haven't done shit. Okay? You haven't even tried to make the fight with him. When you were his man, though, you decided that you wanted to fight someone else. So just shut up. You know, that's what makes me mad. So I'm like, man, these niggas are bad for boxing. You know? They really are. And so then you have, for example, you have same thing with Teofimo. I'll fight Devin Haney. I want to knock off his head. I want to end his career. This, that, and the other. And then the actions are not there to back that up. Right. And it's just sad. So with the whole Canelo Caleb Plant situation, my opinion is they'll probably fight in December. That's just my opinion. They'll probably end up reaching an agreement and they'll fight in December. And then you'll just go from there. Canelo will fight in September probably, but it'll be like an opponent out of a hat who will take a fight on short notice because he needs the money. It'll be like an Adri Yildirim type caliber opponent. That's what's gonna happen, basically. That's why I have a feeling it's gonna happen. So again, I say that, you know, Canelo is bad for boxing. People like Charlo are bad for boxing, and it's just really pathetic. You know, it's pathetic because the guys who really kind of just want to do things the old-fashioned way, do things the vintage way, got their rules from the old school, are the ones who are being frozen out of these, out of greatness. You know, being frozen out of having a chance to be great, right? And that's what's happening. And I think the same thing, unfortunately, is going to happen with Joran Bruce Ennis. I think the same thing will occur with him as well. You know, I think that he'll be, unfortunately, like frozen out in order to, how should I put it? The old guard is gonna probably like move up, and then the new guard is gonna just take his place, but the new guard may not, like, how should I put it? It may not present any challenges as the old guard would. But yeah, I mean, on a final note, I really think that, and this is just my opinion, I really think the boxing world in general should just blackball Canelo and just leave him to fight like dudes like tomato cans. Just leave him to fight tomato cans, and then his fanboys can be happy that he fights tomato cans because of the simple fact that they're happy whoever he fights. Canelo could fight. Canelo can fight a pizza maker and they would still be happy at that. So I mean, that's just my opinion. That's what boxing should do. I think that people in through 168 through 175, they should just fight each other and just leave Canelo alone. You know, I know that they want the money. I know that they want the big money fight and stuff like that. But just save yourself the trouble and still make a lot of money fighting these other guys, because I'm pretty sure that there is enough money to be made by fighting the other guys, and just flip that money, just flip that money into something lucrative, build some more assets, you know what I mean? And then that way, like, for example, you can be like, well, I don't, like, for example, like, let's just take me for example, because at the end of the day, what boxing is about, or prize fighting boxing is about, making as much money as you can possible while still leaving with your full health. But I mean, the money doesn't just have to come from the fight itself. The money can come from different things that you get from fighting. Like, for example, say for example, I'm just gonna be hypothetically speaking. Say for example that I jostle myself into position for a Canelo fight, right? The conditions and the stipulations are highly not going to be in my favor, and it's just pretty much like I'm going to be in there with all types of cards stacked against me because of his stipulations and stuff like that. And I'm like, nah, I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. And yeah, you may be called the duck, right? You may be called a duck for that, but at least you still have your dignity. And I'll be the type of nigga that'll be like, well, I own five apartment buildings, so I can give a flying shit about what he's paying me. I got revenue streams coming from outside of this crap, so why would I care what he offers me? You know what I mean? It should be like that. But what these networks want to do, and what this media wants to do, what these fanboys want to do, especially, is just have you in a compromising situation where almost you have to take the fight, and almost things are not going to be fair for you in that fight in regards to it. That's what they want. But it's up to you not to be like that as a fighter. It can't just be like you be like, oh, okay, just fight and enjoy your paycheck. Nah. It has to be like, okay, you just fight and you be on the even playing field, so you have the potential to not only make money from this fight, but make more money if you defeat the guy because you were on an even playing field. That's how it needs to be. But the problem is the media, the boxing media, and these fanboys don't want it to be like that because they don't want their favorite fighter to lose. That's the whole issue. And it's very upsetting to me. It's very upsetting when they do things like this. And all these fanboys and trolls on here get on my damn nerves. They really do. Them and Canelo are cancers to boxing. And they need to be frozen out. And so I think the guys and I'm going to end on this note, the people who are genuinely interested in the best fights are genuinely interested in highly skilled fighters fighting other highly skilled fighters. We have a job to do. And our job is to just basically take it upon our hands to blackball these fights. That's what we have to do. We have to blackball these fights, okay? That's what needs to be done. So every time we see the quote-unquote face of boxing or the Golden Boy, the Flash or whatever, every time we see them fight these little like puny lesser opposition, then our job is just to tune away. You know, that's our job. And our job is to develop other media sources and media outlets to expose their fuckery, basically. That's what we have to do. And that's what I'm going to do myself, even. I'm going to take, because at this point, there's no other choice. I'm going to take it upon myself to do that, too. I'm going to take it upon myself to not only use this YouTube channel as a means of doing it, but I'm also going to probably use articles as a means of doing it to show how these fighters move and to show the blatant manipulative games that this media, that the boxing media plays, you know, from even keeping these fights from being made. But that's all I'm going to say about it, man. I'm not really tripping off of, at this point, I can give a rat's ass who Canelo fights, to be honest with you. I really don't give a crap anymore, like who that dude fights, okay? At the end of the day, and I've said this before, I've said it again, I'm into fighters who are highly skillful and who use footwork and use different aspects and who are not one-dimensional fighters. I'm into fighters who give you something different every single fight. I'm into those type of fighters. Canelo's not one of them who can do that. And that's just the reality. But with that being said, till the next time, guys, Fuller signing out. Enjoy.